Good afternoon, fellow delegates and those watching from afar. I am John M. Bailey, Chairman of the National Democratic Party. We are on the heels of nationwide change. Over the past week, we've gained new ground on our party's platform to address poverty, infrastructure, and minority rights. Unlike our opponent, Richard Nixon, we have lent our ears to hear the complaints of those protesting outside and nationally. Through unity, we can come together to beat our opposition and promote what is best for our party and country. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to discuss. Within just a few days, we've gotten to work to decide the first plank of our platform. After several hours of discussion, we just reached the decision to hoist the war on poverty up as our first plank of this party. I want to congratulate all of those who participated in these discussions and those who brought valuable ideas to the table. Although there were many opposing beliefs and ideas, we should welcome that, for if we all believed in the same thing, we'd be nothing more than a cult. We have an issue in hand which I believe the Students for Democratic Society put best in their Port Huron statement when they declared, "The Declaration, all men are created equal, rang hollow before the fact of African American life in the South and the big cities of the North." By focusing on the war on poverty, our actions will extend to farther ideas that will affect all of America. For example, with the war on poverty, we can address the concerns of minorities and question the institutions that have restrained them across the country. In saying so, we are put in a position to address these faults and truly bring America together. I recognize there is a great measure of unrest within the public. As of right now, there are roughly 10,000 protesters assembled in the streets of Chicago. In saying so, I want to assure the public that your concerns are being heard and discussed throughout the convention. As the convention goes on, continue to demonstrate and remind us what our country is facing. Through peaceful demonstration, cast your concerns for us to hear. We can create change. We can guide this country down a path of recovery, a path of equality and justice, a path of hope and economic freedom. Together, we can pick America up by her bootstraps and get to work.
Fellow delegates, as chairman of the National Democratic Party, I am here today to inform you of a plan I believe can positively affect our party with unity tying us all together. I would first like to address the Republican nominee, Mr. Nixon, who seems to show no remorse for American minorities. Nixon addresses them in his nomination speech only in hopes that he convinces them that he's on their team, and then what follows is their vote. He doesn't appeal directly to minorities, yet ties them in with his speech to explain that no matter what your race is, it doesn't matter, because what matters is being an American. He then goes on to state he is black or he is white. What matters is he's an American child. Nixon is claiming that everyone, no matter what race, is American, yet contradicts that, stating to human dignity across that gulf that separates black America from white America. Now, let's not ignore the elephant in the room. The riots that have gathered as we debate have led Nixon to only exploit them for law and order. Furthermore, even Nixon's acceptance speech condemned urban demonstrations as well as anti-war protests. With all this in mind, does Nixon truly support minorities while condemning protesters for voicing their frustration to the government by invoking their First Amendment? With the election at our doorstep, our Democratic Party is in disarray now more than ever. A united party is well needed. I would first like to express who I think would make a great candidate to lead us, but first, our party must unite so that we can all achieve a common goal of a Democratic president. Uniting us under this roof despite our differences to reach a compromise that will win us the election is the overall goal, and the person who can do that is Hubert Humphrey. Vice President Hubert Humphrey, who I am completely confident in his intentions and ability to make a good candidate, can lead us to fight the war on poverty. President Johnson has already paved the way with programs from his Great Society, such as expanding the Social Security and Food Stamp Administration, while also increasing federal involvement in education. Democratic unity is now all that's left for us to succeed. The programs have been laid out, a common goal is presented, Humphrey can lead us, now it is up to us delegates to unite for the greater good of the country. In my last effort to convince this great Democratic Party to align its goals, we must not dwell upon the past, but yet look only towards the future of this party and all we can achieve united as one. With all of us together, Nixon and the Republicans have little to no chance at tearing down a united party supporting one and only one candidate. Mr. Humphrey and his platform that he represents is one that we can all agree upon, coming together to fight the war on poverty along with many other programs. The boundaries and limits that once held our party down, such as beliefs, personal vendettas, and different ideologies, can now be what unites us during these trying times. As I speak, riots occur, protests rage on while police threaten kids who just want their voice to be heard. But we can change that, coming together and uniting.